Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is my cousin Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful because today is one of those days where we get to jump right into the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
With us today is the Reds beat writer for the Cincinnati Enquirer and USA Today, professional Balco scandal, past Balco scandal. What's the word? He got out of it, so escapee, maybe. Mr. Bobby Nightengale Jr. Bobby, how are you, man?
First time I've been called an escapee, so
there you
doing
go.
well.
There you go.
Congratulations on being one.
Yeah, it's not easy. Not easy. Well, Bobby, man, let's get started. We're gonna make this a two-part kind of questionnaire. We want to talk to you about the team. Obviously, the season is over, slightly underwhelming, but we want to start this interview off with just a little take on Mr. Marty Brennaman. The last day of, I'll start off. The thing that I noticed that was pretty cool. The very last day, you guys were all there in the second inning, and that seemed pretty special for him. What's your biggest memory? Was it a day like that, or what's your biggest memory of Marty Brennaman?
Yeah, it was definitely probably the last day. I mean, it was pretty cool that we all got to be in there for the second inning all together. Gave him a gift. I had a picture of all of us, all the writers, not including more than just the guys that go on in the second inning. Nice. I thought he choked up a little bit during that, so that was cool just to see him. Yeah. That side of it, and then just the fans afterwards. They allowed everybody on the field. I've never seen anything like that where you had thousands of fans, and I'm sure just some went on the field to be on the field, but a lot just went down just to kind of pay the respects to Marty. Even though he'll be around next year. But,
sure. I think a lot of those people really were there for Marty. I mean, Marty Brennaman in this country, in this city, I mean, is bigger than an icon. So, I think a lot of that really was just for Marty. I'm sure there was a couple of people that just wanted to be on the field, but that was it was a pretty cool moment. It was really cool to get to see you guys up there. I even saw you on a couple of on the video board a couple times. They were showing some past Marty Brennaman things, and he was up waving, and I saw you sitting in the background. You made the big screen, man.
Every once in a while.
There you go.
But I remember I was doing a story earlier for Marty. The Enquirer did a special section on him the Sunday beforehand. And so I interviewed Kirk Herbstreit for it, another guy who grew up in Southwest Ohio. And he talked about, he's like, I never played music when I was in high school driving my car. It was always just Marty and Joe playing in the background. And I thought that just described kind of, probably how a lot of people grew up back then, especially when games weren't on TV every day.
Man, I'm going to tell you, you probably heard over the last, month, the month of Marty, people talk about having a little radio under their pillow, stuff like that. I mean, I must have heard that story 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not a joke. I mean, I'm 36 years old. I had a radio. I didn't put it under my pillow, but I put it next to my bed and listened to him on the West Coast when I went to sleep at night as a kid. That's not a joke. That's literally what everybody did. And he was a pretty special guy. I'm glad you got to hang out with him for a couple years.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, he welcomed me in, which was pretty cool. I mean, I obviously I didn't have a chance to listen to him growing up just because I wasn't from here.
Sure.
But, he kind of welcomed me in with open arms, and, that was really cool from day one.
Very cool. Yeah, that was Chris and I are two of those people, definitely, like you said, that, grew up. Marty's been the Reds play-by-play announcer on the radio since before we were born.
Right.
And we joke about all the time about how old we are, so that tells you how long the guy's been doing it. So, but yeah, it was cool. And Kirk Herbstreit said it perfectly because we were both the same way. I mean, if the Reds game's on, it's on in the car. There's no anything else. It's just the Reds game is on, that's on.
I want to tell you something real quick, Bobby. I don't know if you ever even listened to Marty during the year because you're at 90% of the game, so you probably don't listen to him at all. But Marty has saved my life on a number of occasions. Somewhere in like the 6th or 7th inning, he always tells it if you're listening on your car or truck radio to buckle up your seatbelt. And I have had to buckle my seatbelt multiple times thanks to Marty Brennaman. Probably saved my life a few times.
Marty doesn't even know.
No, he's a hero.
Iconic broadcaster and lifesaver.
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. Did you ever play golf with Marty?
No. I don't play golf, so.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I'd be good enough to even pretend to play with him.
I'd be so intimidated. Even if he invited me, I would be so intimidated by that.
He's like 5'3" and like 90 years old. What are you intimidated
by? The personality, though. It's golf. I mean, the
Yeah.
way he loves golf, man.
Yeah.
And I'm horrible. I'm so awful at golf.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a great trash talker on the golf course.
I guarantee.
He easily gets inside your head.
I bet he is too.
I would go just for that. Actually, that's what I would go for. I would probably embrace being terrible just to hear what he has to say about it.
Just a couple little jokes come out of it.
Anyway, all right. Well, we are at the end of the season, 75-87, a little bit better than last year. Probably a little bit under the expectations that some of us had, but the big thing is this offseason now. Who are free agents, who's arbitration eligible, what is this team going to look like? Are they going to be as busy as they were last offseason? There's a lot of stuff to be looked at. They've been talking the last day or two about wanting to, the payroll is going to go up again. They're really serious about making this a contending club as quickly as possible. So let's start with the guys that are free agents. You got Jose Iglesias and Alex Wood, right?
Correct.
So what are your expectations, I guess, of signing those guys back?
I don't think Alex Wood will be back just because I do think he'll get a contract somewhere, even though he didn't pitch much this past year. There's still some value there just because he's a lefty. He's pitched in the postseason before, has a long track record with the Dodgers. But I just think the Reds will go in a different direction with him. And with Jose Iglesias, I think that's a decision they're still figuring out. But I do like if I had to pick a choice, I would think they'd let him walk and they would make Freddie Galvis. They have a club option for him for $5.5 million. I would assume they'll take that option and make him the shortstop. Just because he's kind of a similar profile as Iglesias.
Sure. See, now that's something I never really thought of because I just keep thinking of Freddie Galvis filling in that second base position, letting Jose Peraza walk, and having Iglesias at short and Galvis at second, which we saw for a while this year. But I never thought of it. I never thought of having Galvis move. I mean, that's his natural position, so that. It wouldn't be a terrible thing, I guess, in that case, especially since Galvis is going to be making how much did you say? 5.5.
5.5, and he's a guy that's going to have more power than Iglesias. I mean, I think he had like 21 or 22 homers this year, and the Reds coaches are confident that he can become a better hitter than he's shown in past years.
But Jose Iglesias showed that he could hit the ball this year. Is he looking? Does anybody have any idea what kind of contract he's looking for? Is it long term? Would he go for a 2-3 year deal since this was really his first great year hitting?
Yeah, I would think at least 3. I would think in an ideal world, just because he's a little bit older. He was making around $6 million with the Detroit Tigers in his last year, and then last year happened, and I think everyone was kind of surprised he was still in the market for. $2.5 million, $3 million. So I think that surprised a lot of people that he lasted that long. He'll probably be the top, you have Didi Gregorius and then probably Jose Iglesias are probably the top 2 shortstops that'll be free agents. So I think he'll be able to command a little bit more money, and that's maybe where the Reds will be a little bit hesitant. And they also are looking for guys that can drive in runs, produce more runs. And Iglesias, I mean, he was a clutch hitter, but he's not one of those guys you're going to look for as an RBI type guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Even though he hit, he hit 3-something with runners in scoring position. I mean, but it's a 1-year sample size. That's not something that has been a track record for him. So.
And obviously a great defender. I mean, he has some unbelievable plays. He might be
one of the top 3 shortstops defensively in the game right now.
Yeah, I do think, we didn't really have a chance to see Freddie Galvis do a lot because he was hurt and then sick at the end of the year. But he does have the reputation of being a really good defender as well. Not to the Iglesias level, but maybe a little bit below that.
Okay, so let's say they keep it. Let's say they do the way you had it. Whether it's Iglesias or Galvis, We'll just say Galvis at short. So then, is there an is Michael? I'm sorry. Holy cow! Just lost my whole train of thought.
Jose Peraza.
No, center field.
Nick Senzel.
Nick Senzel. Is there a chance that Senzel comes into second base? Thank you.
Yeah, I do. I think the Reds are going to add their offense, and I think they have the flexibility to say there's a center fielder opening. Say they find someone who can play center field. I don't think they'd hesitate just because Senzel plays center field. I think if they find someone, great. They just move Senzel to the infield. If they don't, I think they're fine with leaving Senzel in center if that's the case too. I think that he played well enough there this year that they don't have any hesitations either way.
Gotcha. All right, so I got another question for you. Pre-arbitration and arbitration eligible. What in God's name is the difference between arbitration eligible and pre-arbitration?
So pre-arbitration is your first 3 years in the major leagues. So you're young guys. Those guys, they're locked into their deals. They're going to make the major league minimum for the most part. So around $550,000, $600,000, somewhere in there. Sometimes it'll be a tiny bit more, maybe up to like $800,000. But you're kind of stuck there. Once you go to arbitration, it's more based off of, how you perform those first 3 years.
Sure.
So say a guy like Trevor Bauer, when he was first going up through the scale of arbitration, you compare him to the same, it's kind of, you compare yourself to other guys around the league. And, once you get a contract, you keep going up and up. Like Kurt Casale went through arbitration the first time last year, made $1 million. Mm-hmm. Michael Lorenzen, he made like 2.5. And each time you go through arbitration, you get, usually it's 3 years of arbitration. So years 4, 5, and 6 in an organization.
Mm-hmm.
Each time you go through it, you get more. So usually it's almost impossible to go down. So, like a guy like Kevin Gausman, he'll be eligible next year.
So he's
going to make $9.5 million. He'll make at least 10 probably.
Jeez, Pete.
Even though he wasn't
right?
a starter at the end of the year.
So if he's arbitration eligible, we can, if we let him go, if we were to release him, is that worth having a guy at $10 million in your bullpen?
Yeah, that's the problem. You probably can't pay a guy that much if you're not a closer to be in your bullpen. If you want to make a starter again, obviously that's more doable.
Mm-hmm.
But if they think he's going to be in the bullpen, you probably have to let him go and then hope you can get him back on a different type of contract.
So then a guy like Michael Lorenzen, it seemed like David Bell at the end of the year kind of realized what Lorenzen was in his ear about all year. Like, let me play, let me hit, let me play center field. I can do more than just pitch. And and then David Bell kind of realized that at the end of the year, and he got quite a bit of playing time in the field and some at-bats and everything. Is he going to get a massive jump, because they're probably going to use him more often like that next year, aren't they?
Yeah, I think Senzel being hurt kind of helped at least, and Winker being hurt, because those two center fielders that the Reds couldn't use. And then it was like, okay, now we're a little bit down further on the depth chart. Let's see how Lorenzen adjusts to it.
Yeah.
Lorenzen, he was an unbelievable reliever this year. It was his best year pitching.
Without a doubt.
He threw, as many innings as any National League reliever. I think he was second in the league. So he'll get a lot of money just based off that. I don't know how much the hitting will play a factor just yet, just because it's so new. Mm-hmm. And there's not really anyone to compare him with in the National League. You have Shohei Ohtani, but he can be a designated hitter. Yeah. There's no one that kind of like Lorenzen that plays center field, especially. But he made 2.5, I think, this year, or maybe $2 million flat. He'll probably double that, I would think, coming up next year.
Okay, so that's still pretty decent value, I guess, for him. So then going down the list, Jose Peraza, we already kind of mentioned him. He actually was bad enough at one point to get sent down this year, and then came back up at the end of the year after having a great year last season. What does a guy like him, after having a pretty down year, what does he get arbitration-wise?
He'll still get a raise. Let's say, I can't remember what his exact total was this year, but say it's like $2 million. He would at least make probably $3 million, just because he's a year older.
Yeah, he made like 2.7.
2.7. So I would think at least 3.5, maybe 4, just because you're a year older. You still have the track record. It's not like all those hits that he had in 2018 went away. So you still add to your totals and everything. And once you're older, it kind of, the people you get compared with are making more money. So he'll make a little bit more. The big question is, will the Reds, choose to keep him or not?
Choose to keep him, right. And at this
there's
point in time,
there's a chance they don't tender him a contract, and then it kind of turns into what Billy Hamilton was, where they didn't want to pay. Billy Hamilton was supposed to make it $6 or $7 million last year, and they thought that was too much, and that's why Billy Hamilton didn't get a contract and got released last year.
Sure. So you got a guy like Luis Castillo, who's still in that pre-arbitration time frame, that first 3 years. Mm-hmm. He's not making. Is he just gonna? There's no way he's only gonna make $550,000 this year, right? They're gonna have to. Is that a guy that they're trying to work on locking him up through his arbitration years, or do you go through and let that one more year come out?
Yeah, that's one of those things where like team-friendly type deals come in, where you see some guys sign long-term contracts like Ronald Acuna. Like Ozzie Albies of the Braves, their second baseman. He signed like a 8-year, $30 million contract. He's a lot better player than that, but it's just one of those things where if a player doesn't want to risk it, one of those, that's life-changing money, and you don't want to risk an injury. That's kind of where those come in. I think the teams are a little bit more flexible where, if you don't want to. If Eugenio Suarez, kind of that's why he signed the deal he did, is he was just starting to go through arbitration for the first time, and then you get secure money, guaranteed money, and that makes it a lot easier on him, and it makes it a lot easier on the team.
I've heard some bad stories about arbitration too. Guys talking about how terrible it is sitting in a room listening to how bad you are.
Oh, Sean Casey tells the best story about that, about going into the arbitration room. And he spilled something on his tie. He had stains on. How Sean Casey is. The dude's a nutcase. And he's telling the story, and he's the guy's up there, and he had just got off the phone with him. The general manager, I think it was Jim Bowden, 2 days before or something like that. And Jim Bowden was like, "Man, you've been hitting the heck out of the ball. We appreciate it. We'll see you here this weekend." And then all they did was bash on him how slow he was and everything else. And he's like, "Man, I gotta sit here and listen to this. I was pissed."
Now, for the most part, guys, so I forgot what the deadline is. It's in January, but both sides have to put out a number on a certain deadline. Yeah. So say it's January 7th. A player has to say how much they think they should get, and the team will do the same. Yeah. And both players will settle. They'll come to an agreement. They'll be like, okay, we're only $200,000 off. We'll split the difference, something like that. Very few guys actually go to the arbitration hearing. Yeah. It's usually probably just 10 or 15 guys around the entire league that actually go through the hearing, and then that's where you hear the stories of teams arguing why they shouldn't make as much as they think they should.
So you got a guy like Bauer, arbitration eligible again this year, $13 million last year. He's obvious, right? This guy's. This isn't some. They're going to pay him $15 million or whatever, $20 million. I don't know what it'll be, but they're going to pay him.
Yeah, it'll probably be around 20, I would think. And then, you don't trade your top prospects for him if you weren't going to keep him around.
Exactly. All right. So in that case, you got you're starting. So you still got Disco, same way, arbitration eligible. He'll make $3-4 million next year after that. Are the Reds known as a team that's usually pretty good when these arbitration cases or before, to get guys signed beforehand, or are they known as kind of a stingy team?
No, yeah, they just like every team. I think most teams agree to contracts beforehand and don't get it that far. I think Alex Wood was the only player arbitration eligible this past year who they went to arbitration with, and Alex Wood won the case.
Gotcha.
And I think he got $1 million more than what the Reds wanted him. Were requesting for it, so it's a rare thing. Most MLB trade rumors. Popular website. Yeah. They have their own formula, and they publish numbers pretty early in the off season. It's usually, it's not exact, but their numbers, their estimates are pretty close to what the players will get.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Alex Wood probably not. They may or may not sign Iglesias back, and then guys like Bauer and DeSclafani and Lorenzen and Winker will all likely get raises. But Dick Williams did say payroll's going up again, So how aggressive in the free agent market do you expect them to be?
Free agent market, I think they'll be, they're not going to get Anthony Rendon or Garrett Cole, not the guys that are going to make $200 million. I'd be surprised if they spent $100 million on a player. But I could see the middling guys. You have like a Yasmani Grandal, the catcher for the Brewers.
Yeah.
Maybe he makes 30 to 40 million. I could see the Reds being a team that's in on that. I don't think they shied away in the past. It's just I don't think they've ever been a top bidder. Where as this year, I mean, no one's come out outright and said, if we don't make the playoffs, next year's a bust. But I think you can feel that kind of sense, that mentality, that kind of pressure.
You got Barnhart locked up for 3 more years, 2 years and a team option. Mm-hmm. And I realize that they talked about Real Muto this year in the offseason was a big name, kept getting thrown up. But I mean, Barnhart is that somewhere where you want to go out and spend $40 million on a catcher and you got a backup making $5 a year? It just doesn't seem like it makes much sense to me.
Yeah, but that's just one of those things where, Barnhart's probably, he had a below average year this year.
He did, yeah.
Not including the last 2 months of the season. He was a little bit better then. But, he really struggled the first 4 months. And you look at guys like Grandal and JT Realmuto, I mean, those are big offensive upgrades. I mean, if you can count on your catcher to be a guy that can drive in 80 runs, I mean, that changes your whole lineup.
And he's a former Red. He was drafted by the Reds anyway, so he was a huge prospect. We couldn't wait for him to come up before they traded him. All right, so what are the positions? What are the big moves? What are the Reds looking for going into free agency, going into the trade market after all these deals are done here in January?
The biggest position they're going to go after?
Yeah,
I would say at least one outfielder, maybe two. I think they're comfortable with Jesse Winker. They're comfortable with Nick Senzel. They're comfortable with Aristides Aquino.
I hope so.
But I think, we talked about, Senzel, you could move him to infield. Winker, he primarily only played against right-handed pitching.
Yeah.
He didn't hit against lefties. Aquino, he had a great 2 months, obviously, but I don't think they're going to go into spring training and say, we feel good if he's the everyday right fielder no matter what. If he wins the position, great. If he comes to camp and he out-hits everybody again, there's no problem with him winning the position. But I think it's one of those things where they're not afraid to upgrade and say, if we had another outfielder or two outfielders that are really good hitters, that just makes everyone else better, because then you have, Jesse Winker hitting against right-handers, and maybe you have somebody else hitting against lefties that's, like a Jesse Winker that can drive in a lot of runs, get on base a lot. So I think you have that for sure. I can see second base, just because, I think they were happy with what Josh Van Meter did. Yeah, depending on the outfield. And also just, Josh Van Meter did well in the role he had, but I think you could really get a thumper there, like a Mike Moustakas or something like that. Obviously, there's a lot of guys you can trade for, but I think there's just a big priority on getting RBI-type guys, that you have the Joey Vottos, you have the Jesse Winkers, you have guys that can get on base, but you need guys that can drive them in, and that was kind of what was missing in the offense this year.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the Reds did let Turner Ward go, their hitting coach, so they're looking for a hitting coach as well now, right?
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
Because they were, I think, 12th in the National League in runs, 12th in on base, and 10th in slugging, and most of the offensive numbers were down from the previous year. I certainly think they are looking to upgrade significantly offensively.
Yeah, and I also think that was partly like the offense underperformed this year, and also partly they're trying to do what they're doing on the pitching side, which is have a consistent message from the top to bottom, minor leagues to major leagues. The Cardinals have been really good at it. The Dodgers are really good at it, just having one consistent message. And I think, not that Turner Ward couldn't deliver a consistent message, but I think they're looking for someone more like a Derek Johnson type that has experience in the minor leagues in terms of being like a coordinator in the minor leagues. So someone in that type of role who's done it in an entire organization-wide philosophy versus just being a regular major league hitting coach.
Yeah, because these guys are hitting. I mean, last year, outside of Aristides Aquino and in the last 2 months, and Eugenio Suarez for the whole year, this team, and Jose Iglesias, I guess, who had a better than average year. I mean, this team was not good on the hitting side. How much of that really is a hitting coach that does that, or is that just a scapegoat? We just got to find some. We got to make some kind of move because the offense was so bad.
Yeah, I think once guys reach the major leagues, I don't think they're changing their swings that often. You saw guys do it a little bit this year, like Joey Votto changed his swing in July.
Yeah.
Jesse Winker made some changes to his swing, but for the most part, I mean, I don't think they rely on a hitting coach as much as you would think. I mean, obviously they throw to him every day, they work with him every day, but it's one of those things that guys, when they're coming up from the minor leagues, that's the chance you really have to make huge adjustments to guys' swings, change launch angles and stuff like that. Once you're in the major leagues, there's kind of less time to do it, and when you do make the changes, it's hard to do it against major league pitching. And, that's where you see guys kind of struggle. Like Nick Senzel made some changes and then really struggled in August. And, it's just a hard thing to do on the fly in the major leagues.
Yeah, I mean, Joey Votto struggled like crazy this year. And admittedly so on his part. It was one of his worst years, and it was very frustrating. And he tried to change his swing a couple times, but I know none of that came from the hitting coach. There ain't no hitting coach telling Joey Votto what to do, right? I mean, Joey Votto's
I mean, he knows his swing the best. I mean, obviously they'll offer suggestions, but it's up to him to just Votto will decide whether he thinks it's a good idea or not.
Sure.
And this is the second year in a row that at the end of the year, Votto's talked quite a bit about how disappointed he is in himself. Do you feel like age is just catching up to Votto, or is there something else? Can he make another adjustment and come back and be close to the Joey Votto from 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he'll ever get to MVP level Joey Votto. You just see his power is way down.
Yeah,
I think that's just the biggest difference. And then, if pitchers don't fear that he's going to hit 30 homers in a season, they don't have to walk him as much. Some pitchers will live with. You make a mistake, maybe he hits a double, but that's better than giving up a homer.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, so then big picture, how far away do you think the Reds are from being a contending playoff team?
Playoff team, they hope it's next year. I mean, if it's not next year, I think you're going to see an angry fan base. I think you're going to see, probably wholesale changes. I mean, they're making a lot of changes right now, but I do think it's almost like a playoffs or bust. I mean, they've made all these moves to make the playoffs next year.
Well, if Aristides Aquino can come through and do what he did in those last 2 months, I mean, the dude's got 47 RBIs in 2 months. Boy, I'll tell you what, that's a shot in the arm for an offense. So to have him and Suarez hitting 3-4 for an entire year, that alone is going to make this offense that much better to me when you got that kind of guy in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you need a couple more guys than that. I mean, Votto get on base, Nick Senzel. You didn't get to see him for a full year. Jesse Winker, the same thing. I mean, those guys are good hitters. They're guys you can build around. But add one or two more guys just like them. The goal is to kind of make the offense have the strides this year that the pitching had the strides with.
Yeah, I agree. So the season's over. You're done. With season wise, you still got there's still a lot of news coming out. They're firing people. They're making moves. They're hiring guys. They're doing all kinds of stuff still. Do you got any kind of vacations planned? You got anything out there you're getting ready to go do, brother?
I'll go to Washington, D.C. in October. That'll be kind of my tourist vacation.
There you go. That sounds good.
They going to be playing? They going to still be playing when you go out there?
That's a good question. Hope not.
Yeah, you make that a vacation.
Be a little bit busier than I thought.
Yeah, you make it a vacation, and you might get a call from your boss to cover it.
Yeah.
While you're out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you know of any other thing? You mentioned to us before that, in the off season, if a couple little periods where it's a little slower, and you might have to help out with some other things. Do you know of anything for sure that you're going to be doing other than baseball?
Well, I helped out, the Reds ended the season in Pittsburgh, and so I just stayed an extra day, and the Bengals-Steelers was Monday night. So I helped cover that for the Enquirer.
Oh,
so there'll be stuff like that. I mean, if I'm around, I'm willing to help out. But It's not like I'll be full-time Bengals or anything, but
You got to get
here and there.
You got to get with Adam Baum, and you got to get to the crosstown shootout. You got to find a way to get a press badge or whatever it is for the shootout.
I'd rather do that on the fan side. I don't know if I'd want to cover it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Although the seat that you get is phenomenal.
Yeah,
so.
get a press pass and just go and don't cover it.
Yeah, get a press pass. Act like you're taking notes. That sounds easy enough for me.
That is a good Cincinnati thing to try to do while you're here for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
If you
I haven't been to that new arena yet, so at UC's campus, so hoping to get over there this year.
UC has they did an amazing job with what they did over there. The Cintas Center is obviously beautiful, but I think you said you've been there before. But if you make it to you're ever at a Xavier game, brother, hit me up. We'll if you're there as a fan, I'll grab you a beer and we'll hang out and watch a little basketball. I'll be at every
basketball fan, so
I love it. So I'll be at every game. Hit me up, man. But
definitely will do.
Definitely, we appreciate all the help this year, man. Coming on quite a few times with us, and getting to be with you on your first ever Skyline Chili adventure was fun, and it's been a good year, man. I hope you don't mind if we call you in the off season maybe once or twice, and then hit you up for next season.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, every time I go to Skyline, I think of the first time. So.
There you go, man.
Nice,
there you go.
Nice. Are you still liking it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Obviously, if you're still going there.
Yeah.
Although I saw a survey, the Inquirer had something that Gold Star is now the more popular chili in the state. I haven't been to Gold Star yet, but
what?
I saw something.
Hold on.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Some food website had Gold Star as the best fast food in the state of Ohio or something like that, and I lost my mind. I didn't know what to do with myself. It was crazy.
Bobby, in your adventures in Cincinnati in the last 2 years, would you say that that's correct?
I haven't tried Gold Star. So
no. I mean, just with the people you've talked to.
I've never heard. Everyone calls it. Have you tried Skyline chili? No one's ever told me. Have you tried Gold Star chili?
Yeah, that's exactly right, because that's what it is.
Well, I'll tell you. To be fair, you should try Gold Star, and maybe some people do like Gold Star better. I don't understand it, but some people do. You might like Gold Star better. I don't know. But you should try.
It's still Cincinnati chili. Some people probably can't even tell a difference, but
it's definitely different to me.
There's no doubt. You'll try it. There's a difference, and then we'll take you out to Skyline again.
Yeah.
Wash your palate of that Gold Star.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my man. We appreciate it again, and we will be talking with you later. Oh, real quick before you go, let everybody know, because you're one of my favorite follows on the tweet box. How do people get a hold of you on the tweet box?
Yeah, my last name, Nightengale, and then JR at the end. So
Nightengale, JR. Bobby, we appreciate it. Bobby Nightengale Jr. with Cincinnati Enquirer, USA Today, sports, Reds, beat writer. As always, man, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks, Bobby. All right.
Hey,
there we are.
Bobby Nightengale Jr. once again with us. The guy does a phenomenal job every time he comes on. We appreciate it so much. Thank you very much for coming on with us, and thanks for hanging out. We are the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. That was Bobby Nightengale Jr. You're Adam Schmidt.
Sure am.
Adam, I got to tell you guys, Adam's a trooper today. Adam is a trooper. We could have called the day off. Adam has to be up at 4:30 in the morning to leave for California. Heading to L.A. Big man, big time over here. Old big time over here. He's heading out to L.A. Only for a weekend. Don't worry. He'll be back. He'll be back next week. We got a little special guest for you next week as well. We'll let you guys know about that a little bit later. But are you excited about the flight?
I'm not excited at all about the flight. I'm terrified about the flight. But getting to go to California and see our family that we don't get to see very often, and I'm very, very excited about that. Celebrate our uncle getting married. Speaking of Marty Brenneman, an old ALG, ain't love grand.
Ain't right? Love grand, buddy. Ain't love grand.
But anyway, yeah, I am excited. I'm going to. I already got tickets for 2 of the bigger comedy clubs out there.
You did?
I did.
Nice.
Going to the
Comedy
Comedy Store, and I'm going to the Hollywood Improv.
Oh, to the Improv.
Yeah.
Nice.
And next weekend,
Dude, I hope you get to see Joe Rogan.
Yeah, this weekend
he's always there. It seems.
he goes to both of them a lot, I think. But this weekend, I think all around the country, Conan's like company or whatever like takes over a ton of the big comedy clubs and puts on like big shows of a bunch of comedians and stuff like that. So they're doing that at the I'm pretty sure at the Improv this weekend. So I'm going to a show. I saw a couple names that I'm really excited about that I've liked for a while. Tig Notaro, and Nick Thune is one of my favorites.
Nick Thune. I gotta see what that guy looks like. I can't remember. If I saw him, I might recognize him.
We got to do a Nick Thune at one of these weeks.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll get into the comedy thing. But anyway, and I'm gonna go. Our guy Tyler Roop, student at UCLA, he's gonna take me around and just look at the campus and go see Pauley Pavilion and see
check out the scenery.
Go check out the scenery there and go check out the one of the most historic basketball programs in the country. So
what is more historic of a basketball program? UCLA, Kentucky, or Kansas?
You know what? I put all three of them right about the same.
Really?
I really would.
I still feel like UCLA historically, because of that run that they went on in the 60s and 70s.
The John Wooden years definitely probably are the best era for any of those three schools.
No doubt. Although Coach K, well, no, never mind. He won. He's won one title, so that's nowhere near. Although he's had a lot of success.
Yeah,
that's Kentucky run. Nothing compared to that. So anyway, So we wanted to. What do you want to do next, man? We got some good Bobby Nightengale talk. We want to get into some NFL picks. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm excited to do it this week.
That means I got my butt kicked. Did I go 0 for 3?
You did go 0 for 3.
Oh man,
you went 0 for 3.
Everybody that was riding the sick-witted bandwagon at 7-2 with my picks, I am so sorry. 0-3, man. So that puts me at 7-5. I'm still over 500. How'd you do?
I went 2-1.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm at 6-6 now. So yeah,
you were all worried. I told you not to be worried. I can already taste those hot wings. Can already taste them.
So we did. So we're 6-6 and 7-5. So we're much closer now. Much to my enjoyment. And so now week 5. Games coming up this weekend, and I've got my 3.
Okay, good.
So you can start your process.
I just opened up the ESPN app. So here's what we do. So Adam and I have our picks of the week. We pick 3 NFL games apiece against the spread. Now, remember that we do the Nosebleeds comes to you live on Facebook Live at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays. So this is the spread on Wednesday for the Sunday game. So a lot of things could go into these, and it is what it is. If a quarterback gets hurt on a Friday, that tough luck for us.
Too bad.
We lose, although the spread would be changed. So anyway, Adam is currently 6-6. I was 7-2. Had an 0 for a week last week. Dropped me down to 7-5. However, we are ready to go now, and we are going to get into week 5. The loser has to eat stupid hot wings from, I don't know, somewhere that's going to suck.
Wild Mike's, probably.
Yeah, there you go. Just really hot stuff neither of us wants to do. So, Adam, you got your 3, and I'm going to go through here and see who I'm going to take.
And I want to convince you again this week that you can take the same games I am, because I can't go first every week and limit you to 3 less games.
You're not limiting me to
from.
anything. I don't even pay attention. When you talk about the games that you're picking, I don't even pay attention to what you're saying.
But if you pick the same game that I pick, I'm not saying anything.
I'm going to find out tomorrow when I listen. Okay. Whatever, that's fine.
Too bad. Can't change it.
Now I got to pay attention to 2 things.
So what did me well last week, which was picking underdogs.
Home dogs, all dogs. You took 3 dogs last week.
I did. So, of course, being the smart gambler that I am, I'm going all overdogs this week.
You're going all favorites this week,
like overdogs.
Overdogs, I like it. Oh, the overdogs.
So speaking of overdogs, Houston is the first overdog. They're a 5.5 point.
They are.
favorite over Atlanta. I'm taking Houston. I am taking the LA Chargers, who are a 6.5-point favorite over Denver in LA.
So weird to hear LA Chargers to this day.
I know.
That's so weird.
And then I'm going with the Chicago Bears, who are 5-point favorites at Oakland. So they're away. But I got 2 home favorites and an away favorite that I'm going with this week. Houston, the Chargers, and the Bears. And I don't know how good I feel about those picks, but that's what I'm going with.
There you go. But that's what you're doing. All right, so that puts it on me. And this is something else. I am going to have to look at this really hard.
This is my favorite part where you're like
dragging
on.
Do. All right, so for my first pick, I am going to Tennessee -3 against Buffalo. I am going to take Buffalo +3 in Tennessee. Buffalo has been surprising me. Wait a minute, did Josh Allen get hurt? I can't remember. He's still okay, right?
No comment.
No comment. Yeah, he's good. He's still in there. I'm going to say he's still in there. So we'll take that. And then we got, let's see, after that, Minnesota -5.5 against the Giants. We got Philly 13.5. 13.5. You know what? I like that. I like that number. I'm taking the Eagles.
Oh,
It's a 2-touchdown game. I like that they kept it under 14 for me. I'm taking the Eagles 13.5. That's a stupid pick. But I got all the faith in the world in them. That'll be the one game I win because I said it's a stupid pick. All right, so then after that, Green Bay and Dallas. That'll be a good game. 3.5 points. I'm taking Green Bay +3.5 in Dallas. I don't think they're going to win that game, but 3.5. Those two teams are like the exact same team.
yeah.
So hopefully it's a field goal game and Dallas kicks a field goal to win it at the end because I really like Dallas. They were my Super Bowl pick, so
That's right.
there we go.
They were, but I play for the Green Bay Packers, so
That's right.
thanks a lot
Hey,
for
Ron.
rooting against me.
Discount double check over here. My cousin who happens to be Aaron Rodgers' little brother. So that's our picks, and we're not going to get into football this week. Like we said, Adam has to be up at 4:30 in the morning tomorrow. So we're gonna do. We got Bobby Nightengale on there for you. We got our picks in. We're gonna tell you a little something about a couple places that help us out on the podcast.
Yes, we are.
And then we're gonna get into our favorite segment lately is the comedy segment. We've been watching a comedy special every week, talking about it. This week was Nikki Glaser Bangin. And before we get into that, that just came out yesterday, so there could be some spoiler alerts in here. Spoiler alert! So be careful before we get into it. If you want to turn this part down and come back later, we're going to let you guys know a little something about training personally. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, no matter your level of fitness, if you like to be challenged and want the benefit of working with a personal trainer, working out with a personal trainer without paying the enormous cost of most personal trainers, then training personally with Peggy Edwards is where you want to go. Training personally is circuit training for all levels with a personal trainer, certified personal trainer Peggy Edwards. It's at your pace. It's on your time, whenever's most convenient for you. Peggy Edwards keeps workouts safe. She keeps them fresh, new, fun. You can visit her at trainingpersonally.com and on Facebook at Training Personally with Peggy Edwards.
And the best part about it is right now Training Personally is doing something special for the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. If you go to the lovely city of Cheviot and go see our friend, is it Cheviot or Westwood?
It's 3634 Boudinot Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is Westwood, actually.
It is Westwood. Okay, so just outside of Cheviot, in Westwood there. Great gym. She's doing something special for the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. If you go to the gym and you mention the Nosebleed Sports Podcast to her, she will give you the first month free. Now, the first day you go is free no matter what. She's going to show you around. She's not going to let you go too hard. She just wants to kind of take you through the steps. But she will give you the first month free. That's money in your pocket. Straight cash, homie. So Peggy Edwards, thank you very much. Also brought to you by Ohio Mosquito Control. At Ohio Mosquito Control, they offer quality services to the Cincinnati area at reasonable prices. Family-owned and operated professional mosquito control service. Just a phone call away. You can catch them at ohio-mc.com. They're going to spray your yard for mosquitoes. And at this time of the year when those mosquitoes are biting like crazy and everybody's having campfires and running around outside getting bit up, they're going to help you out. You can do a one-time spray. They'll set you up on a service plan. They'll do it all for you where they hit you up all summer long, spring, summer, and fall. If you got an event coming, they'll hit you one time and make sure that you are bug-free for that. But definitely check them out, ohio-mc.com. Those are people that help us out. Those are people that we hope that you help them out. So catch them. And now, Adam, we get to talk about Nikki Glaser's Bangin.
Yeah, because she talked about it for an hour.
Let's be honest. She called it Bangin. Spoiler alert. That's all she talked about.
And it's exactly what it sounds like.
Yes, Nikki Glaser is known for getting a little raunchy on her specials, which is funny. I've said it last week. She's one of my favorite comedians.
She is funny.
I said the same thing about Whitney Cummings. She was one of my favorite comedians. Whitney's special didn't do it for me when she came out. Nikki's, I'll be honest with you, man. There was some funny parts. There were some parts where I was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden I found myself with a quick little chuckle. Mm-hmm. There were some pretty funny parts, some things she says, but it wasn't. I don't think it was as good as some of her old stuff. Mm-hmm. She had some really. Sorry about that. She had some really. She did have some funny jokes in there. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was. I was pretty happy with it. I thought it was pretty good. She was. I was. There were a couple of times where she kind of seemed like she started to start a joke about something else.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then it went right back to that.
Yeah, it was so weird. It was like she wanted to get off of it, but she couldn't.
It was all about her promiscuity.
Yeah. So here's the deal. The best joke was a joke that I don't think she meant to make. The bucket, the toy bucket.
Right.
I think that was I laughed harder at that than anything else. And I don't think that she even really meant to make that, judging by her face. I don't know. Maybe it was supposed to be that joke, but that was the best joke of the day. I laughed harder at that, at the toy bucket.
Yeah, she did. I did laugh pretty hard a couple of times, and it was, it wasn't bad. I liked it. I thought it was funny. I think she could, and it was funny because she's had a couple of different podcasts over the last few years.
Yeah.
And it's one of the more popular podcasts on Comedy Central Network. And the one she's on now is, I think it's called You Up or something like that. But I went through those, and just looking at, and the one she did a few years ago too, just looking at the titles of all of them, most of them are about sex as well.
Well, I mean, that's kind of her MO.
That is just her thing.
That's what she does.
So
good for her.
If you haven't seen Nikki Glaser, expect that is what you're going to mostly hear about. Now, she's very funny.
She is hilarious. She cracks, and I'm going to tell you, she might be one of the funniest roasters. We talked about that last week. She's super funny on the roasting deal, but yeah, she I don't know, man. She's good, but it was definitely and I don't mind it. You know me, I love the raunchier the better. Dude.
Sure,
I think that's hilarious. It just, some of the stuff didn't seem to flow, and some of it just started to get overbeaten. It's like she said the same thing 5 times.
Well, her first 20 minutes was about one specific act.
Yeah.
And I started to think, is the entire hour going to be just about that?
Well, it wasn't called blowing; it was called banging. So,
right.
So we knew it was going to change. It was going to change gears eventually.
They were related, yes. But yeah, it did, man. It was an hour long of jokes about those types of things, and it was funny. I would recommend go check it out.
Definitely check it out. Nikki Glaser, Bangin'. It's fun. It is funny. It's not I don't think it's as good as some of her old stuff. Mm-hmm. But it was still good. I still laughed.
I did check out. I don't normally listen to her podcast, but I did listen to it actually for the first time today on the way home, and it was really funny too. It was just her and two of her friends sitting around talking about mostly that.
Yeah.
And
All
it was
stuff.
from like a month ago or something like that. And yeah, she it was funny though. It was really funny. All her friends are comedians, so
Right.
it was a bunch of comedians just talking. But
Yeah. You said it beforehand, and I've been trying to give you the opportunity to say it again.
it's yours now.
No, I can't. No, you go ahead, because there's one thing Nikki
I don't even
Glaser
remember
did.
what it was now.
Oh, Nikki, if there's one thing that anybody is going to take off of this special, they're going to know how to please Nikki the exact way Nikki Glaser wants to be pleased.
She talks a lot about just meeting people in bars and after shows and stuff and just going home with them. And
There are
if
things she likes and things she doesn't like.
if you're one of those guys that's going to happen to, you just got to watch her special and you should have no problems.
And that's exactly right.
So anyway, okay, so pretty good. Not as good as you thought it would be. I don't know. I don't really know what my expectations were for it, but I enjoyed it.
I thought I was going to put it up there with Dave Chappelle and stuff like that,
Okay.
and Eddie Murphy's special.
I wouldn't do that. I thought it was definitely better than Whitney Houston.
Oh, it was better than
Cummings.
Whitney Cummings. Yeah, I definitely say that. I think it was better than your buddy Gaffigan.
Gaffigan. Okay. Gaffigan was
Gaffigan's one of your favorites.
way up there for me. Yeah. But okay, so let's talk about we've mentioned a guy for the last couple of weeks that we want to talk about or that we want to watch, Mike Birbiglia, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make it this week?
I struggle with his name, but let's do Birbiglia.
Mike Birbiglia. You said it fine the last couple of weeks. What are you talking about?
Mike Birbiglia. Birbiglia.
Birbiglia. Yep.
Is that what we're gonna do? So do we have a latest comedy special from him?
I think
Has he got something new out there?
Let's see.
You know who else has a new one out there that has been all over Netflix lately? Is that fella that does the ventriloquism?
I was gonna ask you about that.
So here's the
Jeff
deal.
Dunham.
Jeff Dunham. Here's the thing about Jeff Dunham. I think okay. So the dude plays with puppets.
Be
right?
honest.
The dude
with
plays with puppets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna be completely and totally honest with you. I'm definitely a closet Jeff Dunham fan.
You are.
I am. I think that if you say that out loud in public, people are like, "Oh, what are you like? You're either 55 to 65 years old, or you're a little kid because he's playing with puppets, or you're an old man." No, I think that dude's pretty funny, and he's got some funny stuff with those puppets.
I could not wait. I'm so glad you said that because I was going to forget about it, of course, but I wanted to ask you about that because as soon as Nikki Glaser special got over, his
pops right up.
The trailer starts right after that, and I already saw it a couple times before that anyway. But so I wanted to get your opinion on Jeff Dunham. So I'm glad I got your opinion.
That's
on that.
my opinion. So at some point in time, we'll have to watch his new special. But let's start off with Mike Birbiglia.
I think his latest was from a couple years ago. Thank God for Jokes, and that is the only one I see on Netflix. I know he had. What was the one called before? He's got. I think it was called "What I Should Have Said" or something like that, because that's the punchline to his big joke on that album. But
Gotcha.
anyway, we can just do this one because it's on Netflix. If you want to, Thank God for Jokes, 2017.
That looks like the newest one because he's got two of them on Prime, but they're 2008 and 2013.
What are those called?
You got My Girlfriend's Boyfriend.
Yeah, that's the other one.
And What I Should Have Said.
What
was
I
Nothing.
Should Have Said.
That was one of his first ones. That's what got him started.
Right.
That was his big one.
Yep. So I'm up for any of those three.
Let's do the
one?
newest one, man, because I don't think I've seen the newest one.
Okay. Yep. I think I saw it when it came out, but it's been 2 years, so I'm definitely excited to watch it again. So here we go. Mike Birbiglia, Thank God for Jokes. If you want to watch it, listen to it, whatever you want to do, and then hit us up during this podcast next week.
You can hit us up during the podcast, but I'm not going to be able to see it because I still can't see comments on the podcast. However, Adam can check it out or send a comment. If you got something you want to talk about Nikki Glaser special and you watch it or you've seen it and you're listening to this podcast, send something in the comments and let us know what you think, man.
Or tweet us.
Crazy we are. Oh, tweet us. Yeah,
tweet
Adam.
us.
If they were going to tweet you, how would they do it?
Well, you would go at Adam Schmidt 44, and they would tweet you at
Sick with it.
There you go.
SICWHITTIT.
There you go.
Oh man, I wanted to take a picture of us setting up. So the Instagram, right? So we talk about the gram, the Insta Snap, and the Chat gram, and all this other stuff. So the Instagram seems to be that's like kids make fun of adults for having Facebook, right?
Now they do, yeah.
Facebook, what are you, 50 years old?
Yeah.
All right, so they got the Chat Snapper, they got the Insta File or InstaTube or whatever.
Just say what it is.
No way, man, I can't do it. So the gram, so the Nosebleeds has an Instagram, and I want to start taking some. Because that's how it started, right? It was pictures and stuff. You just took pictures. So I want to take some pictures before we get started. Set up. Let you guys follow us around down on the Insta. Check it out. I think it's Nosebleed Sports Podcast at Instagram. I don't
know. You set it up.
I'm not really 100% sure how that works. I didn't set it up. My sister did.
Oh, okay.
So I really have no idea what it is.
But that's a good idea. We'll get that set up and we'll tell you for sure what's going on with it.
Yeah, we'll get some backstage stuff for you and some goofy. Maybe I'll Antonio Brown and secretly record some of our pre-show conversations and give you guys a little look in.
The stories are the big thing on Instagram now. So maybe we'll do an Instagram story once in a while.
I'm not typing I'm not typing out like a Word document and sticking it on there. I'm not writing any stories.
No, there's no. It's stories are like just like Snapchat. It's just like just like photos in a row.
Oh, I gotcha. Man, is that how this Insta Snap is?
Yep. Oh. Everything. I mean, you can do it on Facebook now. You do it almost everywhere except Twitter.
Man, that's a bummer.
Which makes Twitter cool.
If you go to a concert, I don't want to see the concert.
Yeah.
All right. I tell you that?
Thank you.
If you go to a concert, good. Watch the concert.
Enjoy the concert.
Watch the concert with your eyes. And have fun with your hands. Don't hold a phone up in the air and I don't care.
Take one 10-second video and leave it at that.
There you go. I'm totally good with that. One or even 20 seconds or something. I don't care. If it's two of them back to back, I'm probably getting out of it after that. You go three or more or I've got this sitting there tap 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 because all you're doing is showing the whole. I swear to God, I've seen so many concerts through Insta chat. What's it called? Snapchat. That's just ridiculous.
I'm with you.
It's crazy. Please?
I don't care who it is either. Like even if it's one of my favorite people or singers or bands or whatever.
Oh,
I don't want to see that on somebody's Snapchat.
First off, I can't. Y'all ready? If you're at a concert, usually the sound is not nearly as good as listening to it on the radio, so you already have trouble understanding anything the dude's saying. And then if it's over another phone, I can't hear a daggone thing anyway.
And you're 300 yards away from the stage, all right? All I can see is people.
It's an ant. I assume by the sound of the beat of what song it is, but I don't know. People get in concerts and play other people's songs all the time. I don't know who's up there. Don't play the whole thing. And and here's the other thing. I put videos of my kids on there when they're doing goofy stuff. I do it. But it's like I said, it's one or two. Doesn't get into the third chat. If you're taking a video and it gets into that third snap, that's it, dude. Just stop. Just be done. And that doesn't mean stop and then 10 minutes later do it again. That means we got you. I don't need to see your whole hayride. The whole 20-minute
hayrides are coming up, pal. It's hayride season.
That's why I said that. I want everybody to know when you go on the hayrides, I don't need to be there for your whole hayride. All right? I understand that documentation is the only way people feel like they actually did something anymore. Believe it or not, just being there is being there.
Yes. Haunted houses as well.
Do people do haunted houses?
Don't take me through the whole haunted. Actually, you're probably not allowed to do phones inside.
I'm gonna
but
tell
people
you,
do it from outside.
If you're in a haunted house, I will defriend you because I don't like haunted houses. I'll be scared.
Yep.
Watching it through your phone.
Yep. No haunted houses for this guy either.
Man, we are a couple lame cats, dude.
That's okay. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
Man, Couple old people telling the young kids how to. They're all saying go back to YouTube, go back to Facebook. Gosh, bless America. Whatever all these things are. You got InstaSnap, you got Chatgram.
That's why you can't remember what they really are, because you purposely say them wrong every single time. Mr. Tweetbox.
I love that, man.
I know you do.
Marty, whatever his name is, that hillbilly on ESPN. I love that guy. And he said Tweetbox one time, and I am stealing it. And
is that what that was from?
Oh, yeah.
I thought you made that up.
What's his name? The Marty Party. He has the Marty Party podcast.
Smith,
whatever it is. Marty Smith. He said the Tweetbox one day, and I have ran with it forever. And I give him props every now and then, but I still keep it as my own.
Yeah. I thought it was your own.
No, I wish. The FaceTube's not mine either. InstaSnap, though, I did do the InstaSnap.
Who made FaceTube up?
Buddy's uncle.
Oh, man.
Or maybe I think he called it Tube Face. Either way, it doesn't matter. You can catch the Nosebleed Sports Podcast live every Wednesday night on FaceTube. God, son of a gun. On Facebook Live every Wednesday night. Catch it, and then Thursday morning that'll be back up on all the podcast platforms. You got SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Radio, or Apple something, and about 13, 14 different other ones. Wherever you listen to it at, you can catch us on there. Hit it up, hit the like button, subscribe. I'll put one of them in the on the Facebook and on my Twitter tomorrow.
Hey, 2 in a row.
Did I get 2 in a row? I'll put it up there so you guys can listen to it. It'll probably either be SoundCloud or iHeartRadio, but you guys can listen to one of those. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit us up with a comment, let us know what you think. And yeah, that's pretty much what we got for today, because we're at an hour and Adam needs to go to bed.
I sure do.
Because we got next week though, we got a guest coming in. We'll do a little interviewing of him individually, and then obviously he's a huge Nosebleed Sports Podcast, one of the originals from the podcast when we were not even the Nosebleed Sports Podcast yet.
Yeah.
So very happy to have him on. He's been all over the world, and you guys will enjoy it. Can I go ahead and say it? Can I say it? Yeah.
Go for it.
Is it Sergeant or what is he? Corporal? Lieutenant?
Yeah, we'll let him explain all the military stuff.
Yeah.
It's Steve Snodgrass.
Snodgrass, ex-elder trainer, elder high school trainer. That's how Adam met him a long time ago. Mm-hmm. He's also in the military and big sports fan. So he's fun to have on. He no longer lives in Cincinnati, but he's been a huge Nosebleed Sports Podcast fan. We're going to get him on and have some fun with him.
He will be in studio. He is coming all the way from across the country to be on this podcast. I don't think that's the reason, but I'm just going to say he's coming just to make us sound good. Why would you say that? You don't
think it's the reason? That is definitely the reason.
Okay, we'll go with that.
I mean, it's what he told me. That sounds good. So very excited to have him on, and catch us next week. Lots of more sports talk. We'll have some Major League Baseball playoffs to go over. We'll probably talk some Reds and Bengals with him because I believe he's still a Cincinnati sports fan. Mm-hmm. And then we will get into some more stuff. So we appreciate everybody listening. Adam, go catch your flight, man.
Will do.
All right. We appreciate it. Don't forget to turn your headlights on.